But we'll kick things off with the latest NFL headlines out there. And one headline for a player who's not even in the league right now, and he is stirring a lot of buzz. His name is Colin Kaepernick. And, of course, the recent release by Nike showing Colin Kaepernick as the featured athlete for the 30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign there by Nike. So bold move there a couple days ago when Nike unveiled Colin Kaepernick, an image of him on Twitter, and really fired up everybody from the Kaepernick supporters to the anti-Kaepernick people out there. The advertisement reads, quote, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." If you are a loyal watcher of the Cam Rodgers show, you know that I often talk about the national anthem debate, Colin Kaepernick, and sometimes President Trump thrown into all of that. And images have surfaced now on the internet of people cutting off the Nike logos of their socks, burning cleats, burning shoes, and people saying that they're going to boycott Nike solely because of this image here with Colin Kaepernick. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. What does that quote mean? Well, obviously, it references Colin Kaepernick kicking off the kneeling during the national anthem in hopes of creating a dialogue about racial injustice and social injustice out there. Now, Nike's VP of North America recently said, quote, "We believe Colin is one of the most inspirational athletes of this generation who has leveraged the power of sport to help move the world forward." So that's one quote. How about another quote? This one from the President of the United States saying, quote, "I think it's a terrible message," Trump told the dailycaller.com in an Oval Office interview recently. Went on to say, "Nike is a tenant of mine. They pay a lot of rent." Went on to say here, "I think it's a terrible message that they're sending and the purpose of them doing it. Maybe there's a reason for them doing it, but I think as far as sending a message, I think it's a terrible message and a message that shouldn't be sent. There's no reason for it." So that's the President of the United States there chiming in on the Nike Colin Kaepernick debate here. And the President, of course, has not shied away from giving his thoughts about the national anthem. He firmly stands in the camp that he thinks players should stand during the anthem and not kneel. Now, of course, the NFLPA and the NFL are currently figuring out a good policy to go about this national anthem debate here. Meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick has an ongoing collusion case against the National Football League, alleging that all 32 NFL owners came together and said, hey, let's keep Kaepernick out of the NFL. Mentioned the burning of the cleats, because that is a thing as well.
I'm going to enjoy.
Surfacing on Twitter. People burning their shoes because an athlete was featured in the latest edition of the Just Do It campaign.
You're going to go ahead.
Okay. This is an interesting move, considering that Colin Kaepernick isn't in the NFL right now, as he has that ongoing collusion case against the league. But folks, maybe that's the point here. Maybe Nike is trying to send a message that Kaepernick is worthy of being the featured athlete for Nike's 30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign, and so he's worthy of being in the NFL as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that Colin Kaepernick is outside the NFL right now because of blackballing, not because of his lack of ability on the football field. Why do I say that? Because there is a man who will be starting this week for the Buffalo Bills who threw 5 interceptions in a football game in 2017. His name is Nathan Peterman. And you are not going to look me in the eye and tell me that Peterman is better than Colin Kaepernick. That's just a fact. So you guys know it. From all ends of the spectrum, I don't care if you're anti-Kaepernick or for Kaepernick, you know that the reason he's outside the league is because of the kneeling during the national anthem. So maybe Nike knows that and wants to kind of send a message here saying, hey, Kaepernick is doing something more than just trying to be employed by the NFL. He's trying to send a message about racial injustice and social injustice here. Now, Colin Kaepernick deserves to be in the NFL, in my personal opinion, and this collusion case should be done with so we all can move on with our lives here. And hopefully the NFL just gives up and says, yeah, we don't want to deal with these legal fees or anything like that. Let's just let Colin Kaepernick into the league and we'll be there. So then there's this whole ordeal about people refusing to buy Nike now. And I don't really get it. For those of you who refuse to buy Nike now, that's your right here in the United States. That's the beauty of this country, First Amendment, you make your own choices, all of that. But trying to get retweets and likes by burning Nike products? Come on. This is the reality of the sporting world now, folks. We live in a politically charged America. For better or worse, however you want to interpret it, we live in an America where sports and politics are intertwined. I have been preaching this and saying this since probably January, probably before that this is the new reality. Politics, sports, you can't escape it, folks. I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm telling it to you straight. That is where we live in this 2018 September 5th. That's the reality. Now, is Colin Kaepernick being blackballed by the NFL? Type away. I want to hear from you guys. 1 for yes, 2 for no. And honestly, the people who are doing the burning and the cutting off of the socks so that the Nike logos don't show or anything like that, it's people trying to get famous. It's people trying to get on internet articles and all this stuff. I really don't think they actually have a belief that, oh my God, because Colin Kaepernick is on the poster here, I can't buy Nike anymore. This is coming from somebody who is firmly in the Nike camp. I have always been a Nike consumer. You ask all my friends from middle school and high school and even college, I was Nike head to toe. Dry fit shirt, gym shorts, compression shorts that were Nike, Nike socks and Nike shoes. That was the Cam Rodgers starter pack in college. You ask anybody out there, that's what I went out with sometimes, for crying out loud. So I have always been a Nike supporter, and you look at this Colin Kaepernick situation, and I'm not going to change the frequency at which I buy Nike products. Are you? Let me know in comments. And look, I understand that Colin Kaepernick is very much a controversial figure out there, and I get the many different sides of all this. How some people say Kaepernick disrespected the flag and disrespected America and all that. I get it. I get where you're coming from, but he wasn't trying to do that, and that's not his goal. His goal is to create a dialogue to improve upon racial injustice, social injustice, and the like. And that's why a lot of these players, as you see Ray there and Mike Wallace kneeling during the national anthem to create that dialogue. So the purpose of a protest, folks, is to create some sort of message and to create some sort of buzz. If players kneeled in the locker room, we wouldn't be talking about this because we barely know about it. That's the point of a protest. A protest is supposed to create headlines. It's supposed to create a stir because that is the fabric of America. It is the differential in opinion that makes America what it is. The marketplace of ideas. I've talked about this many times before. So that is at the crux of this whole Nike ordeal here, is that Nike is trying to send this message here that Colin Kaepernick is worthy of being in the NFL, and even if he doesn't join the NFL, there's something far greater that he is working on right now, and it is to focus on racial and social injustice in America. Now, I'm not an expert in all this in terms of the political side of things. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you look at the news clippings, you look at the headlines out there, there is very good reason to believe that there is racial and social injustice here in America, and obviously we are not the America of the 1700s, but there is still more treatment that needs to be done. And without going too far into the weeds here of the political side of things, let me just say this. Nike made the ultimate power move from a PR perspective with that picture there. And I'll tell you what, the amount of people that are going to buy more Nike products now will far outweigh all the crazies that are burning their socks / shoes / cleats and cutting off Nike products. just to get a few likes and retweets. That's the reality. So, bold move by Nike. I think it's going to work out for them. As for Colin Kaepernick, I don't know if he will be back in the NFL, but it sure looks like he's focused on more important things as we stand. Type away in comments. Want to hear what you guys have to say about this as you are watching the Cam Rodgers Show. Let's continue along here with the latest NFL headlines. Le'Veon Bell still not present at Steelers facilities. Meetings started this morning at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and according to Ian Rappaport, Le'Veon Bell was not there. So we thought that he was going to return on Labor Day. That was the thought process there, especially when his agent a couple of months ago said, yeah, he'll be back after Labor Day or on Labor Day. And still no Le'Veon. So the Steelers play the Browns this week. Browns head coach Hugh Jackson does expect to be facing off against Le'Veon Bell when the two teams meet on Sunday, but who knows? And the Steelers have been adamant about saying that this is not a distraction, and they're confident in James Conner, who's the backup running back there, to be the starter if need be. Le'Veon Bell must really be PO'd right now about this whole franchise tag thing. I get that he wants to get paid for a long-term deal. He wants the security and all of that. I get that. Earl Thomas the same way with Seattle. Maybe he's so PO'd that he doesn't show up for week 1. Doesn't show up for week 2. Heck, doesn't show up for week 3, 4, 5. And the Steelers are losing football games because of that. So the Steelers get into desperation mode here. And they say to themselves, okay, Le'Veon Bell's not coming. He's going to be a free agent next season. Why not get some compensation now before he moves on? Rumor alert, could a Le'Veon Bell trade go down with the Green Bay Packers? Here's what I have. Pittsburgh gets a 2019 first-round pick and a 2019 fourth-round pick from Green Bay. And, of course, the Packers get Le'Veon Bell in that backfield. So we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback from a talent perspective in the National Football League. The complete package, it's probably Tom Brady, but 1A is Tom and 1B is Aaron. They're very close. You got Le'Veon Bell, who's a top 3 running back in the backfield. You have perhaps a top 3 tight end in Jimmy Graham, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, a good offensive line. The Green Bay Packers will certainly give the Minnesota Vikings a run for their money in the NFC North. Could you see that trade going down? If it gets to that point, folks, the Steelers might have to pull something off. And it's the same logic with Earl Thomas, how Earl is entering his final year of his deal, and it sounds like he's not showing up anytime soon. Seattle knows Earl will waltz into free agency next year, sign with the Dallas Cowboys. Why not get compensation now rather than just get nothing in 2019? So it's the same logic with Le'Veon Bell. Pittsburgh may have to make a move, and maybe James Conner can pan out for that backfield there, and they have Samuel as well in the running back core. So we'll see. By the way, with Green Bay, big reason why I have them, Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, these guys aren't, enticing running backs per se. So I think Le'Veon Bell would certainly help that running back core there. Okay, one more thing on the Green Bay Packers. They have 2 first-round picks in 2019, so they can still pick in the first round and trade one away. All right, some Jets news. Sam Darnold is going to be your starter week 1 against the Detroit Lions. So Todd Bowles was very, shall we say, on the fence for many weeks, or at least not really showing his hand. He finally has. Darnold will be the youngest opening day starting quarterback since the 1970 NFL merger, surpassing the likes of Drew Bledsoe, Matt Stafford, Jameis Winston, and Deshaun Kaiser. Now, Darnold coming out of USC was pretty darn raw. Yeah, he looked pretty darn good during the preseason with the Jets, but are we ready to throw Darnold into the wolves, if you will, where you have the classic stopgap option here? with Josh McCown at quarterback? Why not play McCown for the first few games? At least. And then you can usher in Sam Darnold. Look, the Jets are not going to be in the playoff conversation. They're not winning the AFC East, and there won't be two teams coming out of that division going to the postseason either. So should the Jets be starting Sam Darnold this early? I'm typing 2 in the comments section. I don't think they should be. Put in Josh McCown against Detroit. By the way, this is Monday Night Football we're talking about too. This is prime time, high-octane atmosphere, if you will. It's going to be crazy. And for Sam Darnold to be the youngest opening day starting quarterback since 1970, a lot of pressure on him to perform for New York. So that said, I will give a quick note on Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator there for the Jets. Really good OC. He made Jay Cutler look like Johnny Unitas out there back in the day. So maybe he can work some magic with Sam Darnold. All right, next up here, will Aaron Rodgers win the NFL MVP? Well, our friends at BetDSI recently released an updated list of MVP odds. And I'll do a full-on segment later in this show, but the favorite is Aaron Rodgers at plus 450. Brady is second at plus 500. If you want to go to a non-quarterback, Todd Gurley has the best non-QB odds to capture the MVP. Look, Aaron Rodgers has to stay healthy, number one. I mean, he showed his lack of durability last season. He's going to have a nice full 16-game slate, in my opinion. And there's reason to believe that Aaron Rodgers can win the NFL MVP because, well, Devontae Adams is a good wide receiver. Jimmy Graham is there. The running back core is interesting, at least. So maybe Aaron Rodgers can make some magic happen. You got to wonder, with Jordy Nelson gone, does that change things at all for Green Bay? Maybe they throw the football less. I doubt it, but something to just monitor there. Brady at plus 500, I think, is a pretty good number, although repeating as an MVP, it's kind of like repeating as a Super Bowl champion. I don't like putting my money down on that. All right, so who's going to win the MVP in 2018? Type away. Chris on Facebook Live says Dak Prescott, but he used the laughing emoji, so I think it's a joke. But I'm sure there actually are people out there who firmly believe Dak can win the MVP. Here is my answer to that. No, he cannot. If anybody is winning the MVP from the Dallas Cowboys, it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott, especially if he plays well without Travis Frederick, who could be out for the entire season, the all-pro center there, perhaps the best center in the NFL. All right, so let me know who's going to win the MVP. Hit me up. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And this edition of the Cam Rogers Show is, of course, presented by BetDSI. They have over 20 years in the business. Great customer service as well. It's the place to make fun prop bets, too. Go to chatsports.com/bet, and you can get a 120% deposit bonus. Use that promo code CAM120 to get it done. 120% deposit bonus, free money. $100 down, you get $120 in your pocket. Money, money, money. Gotta love it in this economy, right? BetDSI sponsoring the show here today. Let's talk about LeSean McCoy. For you Bills fans and fantasy football owners out there, it sounds like he is going to be fine for week 1, at least in terms of playing. He's got a tough matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I bring this up because he has the ongoing investigation into his potential involvement in an assault at his home. McCoy's ex-girlfriend said during her original 911 call that she believed McCoy, quote, set her up and hired somebody to assault her. Her attorney later on said that she wasn't so sure about McCoy's involvement. McCoy was active for Buffalo throughout training camp and preseason, and no timetable has been mentioned from police or the NFL in terms of any sort of punishment. So fantasy football owners out there should probably tread carefully about LeSean McCoy going forward. Maybe pick up Chris Ivory just in case as a little handcuff option there for the Buffalo Bills. But LeSean McCoy there seems to be good to go for week 1 against Baltimore. But like I said, tough front seven there for the Ravens. I don't know if McCoy will have a good week 1, but maybe that's just the Ravens bias coming out from me. All right, let's talk about Cam Heyward here. The Steelers recently restructured his deal, perhaps to create some sort of pull here for Le'Veon Bell. I don't know. But but the Steelers converted $8.05 million of Heyward's $9 million base salary into a signing bonus. So they go, okay, here you go, $8 million right up front. That creates $5.39 million in 2018 cap space there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cam Heyward, one of the premier defenders on that side of the ball for Pittsburgh. He registered 12 sacks last season. He's a disruptor. They'll need him. And, you know, Heyward actually recently commented on Le'Veon Bell's absence, saying, quote, "It doesn't stop or deter what we want to do as a team." By the way, random thought. This has to be awkward for teammates, right? Like, if you're a Pittsburgh Steeler right now and you're good friends with Le'Veon Bell and he's not showing up and reporters are asking you about Le'Veon Bell's absence, what do you say? I mean, you obviously have to play it very diplomatically, like, okay, you know, we're just focusing on the game at hand and all that, but it's got to be a weird situation there, just saying. All right, folks, I want to give a shout-out to Mizzen and Maine. I am wearing one of their shirts live on air. You can get one for yourself. Comfortable.af is the website. No ironing needed. I literally throw this into my backpack. No wrinkles at all. It's a beautiful thing. Don't waste money on the dry cleaners, folks. Comfortable.af. Get it done. All right, let's talk about Carson Wentz. Is he close to playing for Philadelphia? Not close enough for tomorrow night because Nick Foles will be starting, but Doug Peterson was once again fielded questions on the status of Carson Wentz. Wentz has yet to be cleared by doctors for contact as he continues to rehab from that ACL injury. That's what concerns me. This guy can't even take contact yet. And when we get to the MVP odds for BetDSI, he's highly regarded. Here, Carson Wentz is a concern for me. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll talk about this more when I preview the game for tomorrow night. Nick Foles, of course, is one of the elite backup quarterbacks in the NFL. But if you want to make a true Super Bowl run this year, you need Carson Wentz at quarterback. And I worry, guys, that this could be one of those Andrew Luck mystery situations where we thought Luck was going to play in 2017. There was a ton of optimism about that. We never saw him. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be like Andrew Luck, but I'm getting that sense right now. And so for Carson Wentz, he has been very, very positive about this whole ordeal and his rehab. His spirits have been high and all that. With that said, it comes down to the doctors. Are the doctors willing to clear Carson Wentz within the next few weeks here? That's something to monitor there for the Philadelphia Eagles as they try to repeat as Super Bowl champions for the first time in NFL history since the 2004-2005 Patriots. All right, some fantasy/Broncos news here. Royce Freeman is your starter for the running back position for Denver. Denver, interesting game this week. They take on the Seattle Seahawks in the later window, and this actually isn't all that surprising to me. Royce Freeman has been very impressive throughout preseason, but Vance Joseph officially made his announcement. The number 71 overall pick out of Oregon will be your starting running back. Devontae Booker there at RB number 2. Phillip Lindsay will be that change of pace back. I love Royce Freeman this year from a fantasy football perspective as well as just a general NFL fan perspective. Big reason why, actually, I have Denver winning the AFC West. Royce Freeman's going to be a big part of that. Case Keenum, of course, as well. You know, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Chris Harris, all these guys. But Royce Freeman's going to be a very integral part to that offense for Denver, a team that has struggled to run the football the last couple of years, mostly because, A, their offensive line has not been run blocking very well, and B, the threat of the pass has not been there with Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch and a very old and brittle Peyton Manning. All right, so Royce Freeman, your starter there for the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, with Antonio Brown, is he going to lead the league in receiving this year? So back to our friends at BetDSI. They have the odds for the receiving leader for 2018, and Antonio Brown is the favorite at plus 200. Julio Jones in second at plus 375. Some other names out there: DeAndre Hopkins, Odell Beckham Jr., Keenan Allen, A.J. Green, and Mike Evans are atop the list as well. Hey, I'll tell you this. if Le'Veon Bell is not showing up, that means more target share and more opportunities for AB, as Pittsburgh, you would think, does not run the football as much. Now, I'm sure they're confident in James Conner and all that, but when you have one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL, perhaps the best in the National Football League, you give him the football. So BetDSI receiving leader odds, here you go. Antonio Brown plus 200. There's Julio at plus 375. DeAndre Hopkins, I like that value at plus 950. I'd throw some money down on that. Odell Beckham Jr., I actually like a lot. Plus 1,100, that's really good value. I'll probably stay away from Keenan Allen. I think there's too many mouths to feed there for the Chargers on that side of the ball. So if you guys are throwing some money down on chatsports.com/bet using that promo code CAM120, DeAndre and Odell are the guys you guys should be throwing some cash down. Cam Rodgers coming at you, and we do thank BetDSI for sponsoring the Cam Rodgers Show here today. It's the #1 sports book, folks. Get it done. The website is chatsports.com/bet. If you use that promo code CAM120, 120% deposit bonus. Throw down $100, you get 120 back. You can get up to $600 in free deposit money, folks. BetDSI, the #1 sportsbook out there. All right, let's talk about poor Paxton Lynch. He's looking for a team. Recently worked out for the Buffalo Bills. Also has been in the equation for the New York Jets. I think his career's over, guys. I don't see a team picking him up. Maybe Buffalo does sign him, especially with the Bills trading away A.J. McCarron, and you have Nathan Peterman and Josh Allen on the roster. Let's say Nathan Peterman gets hurt. Do you really want to rush Josh Allen into the starting fray if you're a Buffalo Bills coach? Probably not. So maybe that's the logic there if Buffalo does indeed bring in Paxton Lynch and signs him. I don't know. The Josh Freemans, the Mike Glennons, the Paxton Lynches of the world, the tall, big-armed quarterbacks, the Brock Osweilers just have not worked out. And I've always been a big fan of those type of quarterbacks. And there goes my good analysis, right? So we'll see if Paxton Lynch gets signed. I'll be tracking it for you guys as we go forward here the NFL season. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones chiming in about the Nike Colin Kaepernick debate. In his typical radio interview on 105.3 The Fan, Jones was, of course, asked about Nike featuring Colin Kaepernick as part of its Just Do It campaign. Now, Jones has said publicly before that he will want all Dallas Cowboys players to stand during the national anthem. Like I mentioned earlier in the program, there is no policy right now. Well, I guess there is. It's the 2017 policy where players are encouraged to stand but not required. Of course, the May policy is on hold as the NFL and NFLPA kind of go through the negotiations here. So with that, here's what Jerry Jones said, and it's really not much. I have tremendous respect for Nike and Phil Knight and everything they've meant to sports. Because I'm in court and being sued, this is litigation, and I'm not going to be able to comment on it. Of course, Jones is referencing the collusion case against the National Football League there from one Colin Kaepernick, also from Eric Reed, by the way, another former San Francisco 49er there. So where are you at? Kneel, stand, neutral, type away, K for kneel, S for stand. If you don't care, type away IDC. I don't care. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section here on the Cam Rodgers Show. It's a debate that will continue to rage on, and I think that's exactly what Nike wanted. So PR 101 right there, generating buzz and brand awareness. As if Nike even needs it, but hey, brand awareness is brand awareness. So there you go.